Welcome back yet again to another video in which we explore individuals of unique nature. While those who I've gone over up until this point have been nothing short of embarrassing, who I will cover today has taken me to the darkest reaches of man's potential. From taking on game studios to neo-Soviet neo-Confederism to the abuse of pet birds. Strap in, because this is one rabbit hole that has led me beyond that of just the nonsense of Discord. This is Bunnie Rabbot, currently or formerly known as Rabbot Red, Sqrlyjack, Watermelon Jones, JackTheThriller, and the Mario Brother, or TMB for short. They're 30 and reside somewhere in the southeastern United States. In short, they're a furry artist struggling to separate fiction from reality, resulting in erratic behavior that makes them rather unpleasant both in real life and online, rationalized by Bunnie's own swollen sense of grandeur. But how did they end up like this? Well, it's anything but grand. I wouldn't even consider Bunnie's history to be a downward spiral either, considering there was no rise to begin with. It all starts during another age, with an ancient meme of minor significance, Malio. Malio and Ouija were 2000s era memes based on the sprites from the game Mario is Missing. These two characters were often associated with the nonsensical humor of the web at the time, as if we are any better. The greatest example of which being central characters in YouTube Hoops, humorous edits of popular media. Malio was created by a user known as the Mario Brother. This was confirmed to be Bunnie by Bunnie themselves and is their earliest documented activity on the internet. Bunnie would come into contact with a neo-Nazi known as the Super Ouija, and the two of them would begin a great friendship, which would establish the foundation of Bunnie's sense of humor for years to come. Together, they transformed the wholesome Malio into a fascist dictator leading his Mazi army, as it soon came to be known. Something threw a huge wrench into Bunnie's fun, however. Children. Soon, many fans, whom of which were children, hijacked the Malio meme and turned Bunnie off from the idea altogether. No longer wanting to continue the Malio meme, its replacement was something different, a parody from Conker's Bad Fur Day known as Kanker der Schill. This character was used to harass the young fans of Malio. This included telling commenters that Kanker was going to touch them, or Bunnie creating art of Kanker raping the OCs of the fans. It went as far as there being a flash animation in which Mario was raped by furries titled Ouija's Fad Training Video. This would be sent to fans under the Kanker account, I would assume as a ploy to make the kids think instead they were going to see a Ouija animation. I hope you're still following, because we've only just begun. Between the years of 2012 and 2014, Bunnie abandoned the Kanker and Malio stuff and began to work on furry art, claiming the name JackTheThriller. This was a time of peace and relative prosperity for Bunnie, which I'd argue was their best years as they became a true artisan. Despite finding their calling in furry art, it ultimately resulted in a failed comic known as Blacks and Jack. And as we've seen historically, to be a failed artist typically forewarns of something much darker to come. Bunnie yet again took on a new persona, becoming Watermelon Jones, and then eventually settling on Sqrlyjack, which would become a staple. Now, Bunnie was quite fond of the Bubsy game series, which was a platforming game from the 90s developed by Accolade. This game featured an anthropomorphic bobcat named Bubsy, who took inspiration from Mario and Sonic. Bunnie was such a fan of the character Bubsy that they created their own fan-made character known as Modern Bubsy. As the name suggests, this put a modern spin on Bubsy, in which he was a depraved transgender prostitute. No, trust me, this gets better. The character actually caught on in the furry porn community, and Bunnie went as far as to make a full-fledged game including Modern Bubsy. The game was called Space Funeral 4, Blood Red Edition, with Bubsy. It was a fan game based off the Space Funeral games, and received backlash for having this random OC forced into the game. At the same time, Bunnie was lashing out at their fans for, get this, not respecting the lore behind Modern Bubsy and instead caring more about the porn, so far as to delete their blog where the porn itself was posted. That's right. How dare a furry porn enthusiast not admire the breathtaking backstory of Modern Bubsy? Can't they see past the Futercock and stitched on tits and realize the rich narrative? It's not like the character was clearly made to be fetishized, right? It's now 2016, and war was on the horizon as Bunnie incurred the ire of another furry artist, known as Cutosphere, with most of the back and forth taking place on Twitter. Cutosphere asserted that modern Bubsy was an insulting depiction of a trans woman, serving only to be a stereotype and fetishization of transgender people. With tact, reasoning, and persuasion, Bunnie defended their point by editing swastikas and racial slurs onto the art of Cutosphere. It was something to behold. Bunnie's Twitter outbursts didn't end there, as they went after the developer of OG Bubsy, Accolade, in a desperate attempt to somehow make modern Bubsy an official thing. These dreams were crushed when Accolade released a new Bubsy game in 2017, cementing the IP and making it clear that they weren't looking to throw in any new trans hookers into the mix. Furious, Bunnie went after Accolade in a series of tweets, which ended in them being blocked and mocked by the developer. After such a crushing defeat and the mess modern Bubsy had become, it needed a rebranding. What Bunnie did was more of a recoloring, as Bubsy became Spanky, who was almost literally the same fucking character, backstory and all. Bunnie would then go on to purge modern Bubsy from the internet, with minimal success, as most of it can still be found with a simple Google search. This included the game mentioned earlier, yet it can still be viewed via the Internet Archive. As the Twitter drama waned and tensions fell, love bloomed, as in 2018 Bunnie found themselves in a relationship with another furry artist who went by the name of Birdie. Birdie now goes by Yaku and will become an important character in our understanding of Bunnie's true nature later on. For now, understand that the two would end up living together, an experience that Birdie would come to regret. Welcome to the most glorious era, comrade. One of progress, innovation, and more Twitter fights. Indeed, the year is now 2019, and Bunnie has now embedded themselves in the ever-growing cesspool of online political discourse, taking the side of the left. The extra far left, in fact, as they embrace the tenets of anarcho-communism. Granted, Bunnie lacks the attention span to really adopt an understanding of any kind of political system. In truth, Bunnie just developed a fetish for the authoritarian Soviet aesthetic. Regardless, Bunnie now labeled themselves as an alt-left political cartoonist, and found themselves on the offensive against the puppets of greater capitalist elements, as we can see by this art of Bunnie's character raping a series of alt-right cartoonists. Prominent among these imperialist dogs was Antunes. Bunnie and Antunes would engage in a flame war on Twitter, each side drawing hateful depictions of the other for the duration of the shouting match. This drama boiled over so much, Bunnie was put into a position to explain their side of the story, which was done via a YouTube video. It has since then been deleted, but with the magic of internet archivers, we can watch it again.
Making fun of Antunes for being a try-hard, far-right clown.
Antunes, are you trying to get dick pics from me? Ooh. You're not trans, then?
Lol, clown-tunes. Now to do that dumb video game thing that Antunes does when he owns people in his videos.
So drunk on the attention brought on by internet drama, Bunnie would even post their art on 4chan just to incite arguments. You can tell Bunnie began to think of themselves as the vanquisher of internet Nazis, going on interviews and the like. Starting in late 2021, an unfathomable fusion of two worlds would collide within Bunnie's twisted mind. After being banned from Twitter for sending smut to minors in their many arguments, Bunnie would now take on their modern name and detach themselves from the political sphere. This newest iteration of their OC would be of Southern heritage, but still maintain their devotion to the Soviet aesthetic. It would thus manifest as a monstrous version of the Sonic character Rabbot, who Bunnie believed had trans characteristics, and thus felt attached to it. This original character was Rabbot the Red, a transgender, cybernetic, anthropomorphic bunny rabbit from the fictional Soviet Confederate States of America.
What's it all mean? What's the point?
It was at this point that Bunnie would also embed themselves into numerous Discord servers dedicated to the Sonic franchise and Sonic fan projects. In fact, much of their waking hours is spent on Discord, spamming inane comments and emotes all day. Activity-hungry servers and moderators, I'm looking at you, Season, would turn a blind eye to Bunnie's rule-breaking by virtue of the fact that they spent so much time in the server. Bunnie had also become infamous for trying to lure cis men, despite expressing their disdain for cis existence. Bunnie would explain in these servers that despite being a trans woman, that they were once male, and by the fact that they are vocal about their penis, it is a clear indication that any man who is attracted to them is gay. Now, take all the mental gymnastics I just told you and insert it onto a server filled with children. Additionally, it was during this period Bunnie would go online to the Sonic threads of 4chan and try to start more arguments. Unsatisfied by no one taking the obvious trans hate bait, Bunnie would start arguments with themselves to try to get the momentum going. How fun. Now, if you haven't noticed already, Bunnie's really playing into this whole online persona thing. It's one thing to go by an alias on the web and maybe change how you conduct yourself among different communities, but Bunnie was convinced that they were Bunnie Rabbot the Red. According to Yaku, Bunnie's former significant other, they would act like this in real life too, literally using an accent. Also, Yaku calls bullshit on the strong southern heritage Bunnie claims to have. Sounds like a carpetbagger to me.
They're in the first layer, first layer. Two.
Yeah, I see it. Come to the spawn one. Medic! Medic! That's what I'm saying.
Bunnie would even claim to hate kinnies, individuals who closely associate to a character, even though they perfectly fitted the description of one. The complete fall-off of insanity can be seen when Borby, a webcomic artist, invited Bunnie and other artists to visit him in California. Upon arriving, Borby would admit that this inability to separate fiction from reality was unhealthy, and voiced his concern and desire to help Bunnie any way he could. Bunnie had a violent overreaction to the intervention, slapping and harming themselves at the point of needing to be restrained. Eventually, Bunnie broke free and locked themselves behind a door for the rest of the trip. The rest of the artists were fucking traumatized. If that doesn't sound like a mental illness, I don't know what is. Yaku and Bunnie would eventually break up, but Bunnie found a replacement named Fluff Bun. He pays for the rent, lift rides to the gay bar, and other expenses, as Bunnie is jobless and carless despite turning 30 this year. In March of 2023, Yaku would take to Twitter and speak about his experience with Bunnie, and it was enlightening. Yaku's poor bird even fell victim to Bunnie's instability, as Bunnie went as far to punch it and cause it to bleed out of self-defense. Are you happy now, you curious fuckers? Have you gotten your fill of virtual insanity? I'm certain you are, as this individual was a goldmine of atrocities. As a result of my own mental trauma from looking into this, I have become a doomsday prepper. Thus, I'm done. I must wash my hands of this and retreat to my bunker 38 miles north of Santa Rosa, New Mexico. I hope you found this video resourceful, insightful, and engaging. Stay safe out there and avoid creeps like this one inspected in the video. Until next time.
It's a wonderful day for pie. You can ask all the birds in the sky, and they'll tell you real sweet with a musical tweet. It's a wonderful day for pie.
He's getting out of control.
Who?
Make a video.
Oh, make something out of
No, but don't name him. Don't name him. Say thou who shall not be named, and then
He who
flash
shall
a bunch
not
of
be
pictures
named.
of it. And then flash a bunch of pictures.